In the midst of governance issues and fighting insecurity in the northern state, tonight we speak with the governor of Kaduna, Senator Sani. And former Chief of Army Staff, General Theophilus Danjuma, is asking for an urgent end to banditry in the country. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's begin with a very strong appeal by a former Chief of Army Staff, General Theophilus Danjuma, who today is asking military top brass in the country led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, to end banditry and killings in the country as soon as possible. The former Army Chief gave the charge today in Abuja during the presentation of a book titled Big Boots Lessons from My Military Service, authored by Major General Solomon Odunwa, retired. General Danjuma says the onus rests on serving officers to end the menace of banditry and senseless killings by marauders all over the country. Take a listen to him.
Our number one problem today is security. We must end the banditry and the killings that are going on in our country as soon as possible. The responsibility are on your shoulders. Those of you who are still serving, no excuses. Absolutely no excuses.
That's General Danjuma, our former Chief of Army Staff. Well, our attention will be in part about security and fighting banditry in some part of the country. And tonight we shall be also focusing on the governors in Kaduna State, and the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani, will be joining us live from Kaduna. But before we get into that, all of those issues that might be on your mind in respect of governance in that state, and of course, nationally, also we get our attention. There were a lot of deals signed in China. What about all of those deals? What are Senator Uba's views and plans and the benefits that these will be for the people of that state? We'll be getting insight into all of this tonight. So stick around with me before now we check some of your political roundup stories.
The governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, says the commitment made by the Inspector General of Police, Kaude Betukun, towards a peaceful governorship election come September 21st is highly commendable. The governor stated this today while addressing journalists after a closed-door state caucus meeting of the PDP at the government house in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
I appreciate the statement issued by the Inspector General of Police, making a commitment commitment to support the peace process to ensure that there's a level playing field for all the players.
From the southeast in Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has reiterated his commitment towards the conduct of the local government elections in Anambra State. The governor, at a meeting with candidates of the All Progressives Grand Alliance (APGA) in Awka, charged them to brace up and make the party proud during the election. He knows that it was a thing of pride for the election to take place during his administration, 10 years after it was last conducted. In Ondo State, the candidate for Young Progressives Party in the November 16 governorship election, Mr. John Akimulere, is assuring the citizens of the state that his administration will prioritize the welfare of the people and embark on projects that will boost the economy of the state. Mr. Akimulere made this declaration in Ilu Titun in Okitipupa local government area of the state while meeting with some of his supporters, where he presented his manifestos to them. Lastly, the Taraba State Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abubakar Bawa, is warning that the party will not tolerate acts of fractionalization or sabotage among members without exhausting internal party resolution mechanisms. Mr. Bawa at the reconciliatory meeting with some stakeholders of the party in Jalingo, the state capital, says the governor of the state, Mr. Agbu Kefas, has directed that he does not want any faction within the party.
Thank you so much, everyone. Tonight, I told you my guest is the governor of Kaduna State, and we'll be speaking on so many issues. Stick around with me. First and foremost, tonight, let's check out some of the messages we have as we go on a commercial break, and we'll be back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Tonight, our guest is the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani, who joins us live virtually from Kaduna. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let me begin on the note, commiserating with the people of Kaduna, some of those, about 40 of them who we understand were involved in that car accident. And we do hope that the families, God would give them the heart to bear that irreparable loss. But let's begin the conversation around some of the good news that the military are bringing. But how does it come to you, though? For someone who is seeing the worst coming from the bandits, the killing of Alilu, the bandit leader, how does that come to you, though?
Thank you very much, Sean. I think I've always said this many times that we need to always commend the security agencies, both the military, the police, the DSS, and all other military agencies, security agencies in Nigeria, because like I said, they have been doing extremely well. If you could recall, the last time I had an interview with you, I made it clear to you that we politicians, we need to give the military opportunity, as well as the police and other security agencies, all the necessary support so that they can be able to achieve in the operations they are undertaking. And of course, you know, in the last 3 months, a lot of military personnel have lost their lives in their effort to ensure security of safety and lives of our people, particularly in the northwestern part of Nigeria. And today I'm happy they are achieving the result. In the last few weeks, we've seen the level of success achieved by our gallant military personnel, and I want to commend them. And I will also again call on our political leaders in the country to give them more chance, and also calling on Nigerians to continue to support the security personnel, because they are determined, they are doing extremely well in trying to protect the lives and properties of our people. All they need is support and encouragement. That is, for me, is key, because I know the level of the operation in the northwestern part of Nigeria. Some of us as governors will also know the level of sacrifice they have made, the number of lives they have lost. For me, it's something that we will continue to support them, continue to commend them, and today they are making a lot of success. For me, it's something that I have to mention here. And I also want to use this opportunity to also commend the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. He has been extremely, he has done extremely well in his leadership. He has been able to put the military, not only the military, all the security agencies together, from the police to the DSS to the civil defense together. And that is why they are now achieving and making the success, because for me, the most important is the synergy. They must work together, and that is the only way they can be able to succeed. So I want to commend them. They've been doing extremely well. And here in Kaduna, like I said, we are working closely with them. In the last 6-7 months, we have been having a lot of success. A few days ago, precisely a few weeks ago, I was in Benungwari. And when I went to Benungwari, the Emir of Benungwari made it clear to all of us that in the last 6 months, they have not had any problem of kidnappings or banditry between Kaduna and Benungwari. For me, it's unprecedented. We've never had something like that. The Emir made it clear to all of us that in the past, they always had problem of kidnappings and banditry on a daily basis. But in the last 6 months, there was no any attack, kidnappings or banditry from Kaduna to Benungwari. And recall that was the time when I was coming back, I stopped at government secondary school, Kuriga, where I met the children that were kidnapped, and I went to the school. They were all happy. Even the Kuriga community told me that in the last few months, they have not had any problem with insecurity. So for me, we must comment the security agencies in Nigeria.
All right.
Politicians must always try as much as possible not to politicize the issue of insecurity. For me, is the key, and that's the way to go.
Some good news. When we're seeing some results coming from the efforts of the military, we do all as a people, government, the Nigerian people, and whoever it is, to commend them. I will salute them tonight and giving them all the encouragement they do need to bring this to a permanent end. But the Benungwari you mentioned is another good news coming from there. We do understand that your government had come out to say 20 people have been rescued and about 4 of those bandits were killed. How much of local intelligence are you improving? Are you also working hard in getting Kaduna Security Network, your own local intelligence apparatus working to ensure that some of these bandits are not hiding within the local communities?
Of course, recall about 3 months ago in our State Security Council meeting, we were able to enhance the level of intelligence gathering as much as possible to work closely with not only the security agencies in Kaduna State, but also ensuring that the traditional institutions, the religious leaders, the community leaders, the youth groups, as well as civil society organizations are part of our intelligence gathering, are part of our network. So we set up, apart from working closely with Kaduna Vigilance Services, which if you recall, I was able to distribute about 150 patrol vehicles to the military, to both the Air Force and the Army, as well as the Navy, the police, the DSS, our vigilance service. So why we did that is simply because we believe we need to create synergy, not only between the security agencies and our local Kaduna State Vigilance Service. No, it's also to key in major stakeholders, particularly religious leaders, traditional leaders, as well as the community leaders into fight against insecurity, fight against banditry and kidnappings. And that is the reason why we have been achieving the result. And I can say today that we're seeing the result. I want to thank again. That's the reason why, for me, for the security agencies to now agree that most of our local vigilance service are the ones that know the terrain. Because look, without their support, without their cooperation, I don't think our local vigilance service can achieve a lot. But because they know the terrain, they know the environment, and are working with the traditional institutions, we have been able to get adequate and accurate intelligence report and gathering and sharing also at the same time. And that's the reason why in the last few months we've been succeeding in our fight against banditry, kidnappings, and insurgency.
So Governor Sani, what does this say about the concept of community policing and state police? I mean, as a former lawmaker, you've had the experience in the National Assembly, you understand what is going on, the needs of the people, how to solve some of these problems. From the intelligence that the local security network and those vigilantes and what they do in helping the military and the police, how do you think that we can fix the constitution such that it can further help us to fortify the local security apparatus and local intelligence. What must we do now?
Okay, let me really clarify one or two things, because a lot of people listening might be confused about two things you mentioned. You also made it clear that I was a former member of the National Assembly, a legislator, and I think that's the reason why, before answering the question, I want to explain to the general public the difference between community policing and the state police. Recall, when I was in the Senate, I was a senator that sponsored the creation of the state police in Nigeria. And to do that, I showed you need to be able to sponsor at least 4 bills to put together, because you need to also look at the federal police force as we are talking, and do a bill where you have to also amend it and also create the state police service commission, create the state police bill. So putting the 4 bills together, I recall, was a very tedious exercise. But I'm happy today the current National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, under the able leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, have taken the lead. The last time I was in the National Assembly to visit them, they made it clear to me that they are now working toward the establishment of state police in Nigeria. Look, state police is a necessity. Community policing is just a stopgap, which of course is very useful at this critical time without the creation of state police. But state police is something, it's an idea. The time has come for it. And of course, why am I saying that? It's simply because even the military will agree with me, and the police, the federal police force, that as we're speaking, we have about 370,000, thereabout, the number of police personnel in the whole of this country. And of course, when you look at the number of military personnel in the whole of Nigeria, there are not more than 250,000. We're a country of over 200 million, with all due respect, and I think we're liking the boots. Community policing will continue even after the creation of state police, because the reason why we're advocating for the creation of state police is simply because of the constraint in terms of our own constitution. We're talking about the vigilance service we have as of today. Their powers and their limitation is there by our constitution. They cannot be able to hold firearms that has to do at the level of AK-47. And most of these bandits we're talking about, they are holding weapons and arms that are even more sophisticated than AK-47. And because of that, that's the reason why we're telling our local vigilance service to work with the military, to guide them, to support them. But still, we're lacking the boots on ground. Creation of state police means the state police will have legitimate constitutional rights to hold firearms. And that's the only way we can be able to address the problem of banditry and kidnappings in this country. And that's why we're talking about the creation of state police. Community policing is good. Our local vigilance service is just a stopgap arrangement, which we are using at the moment. But to address the problem completely, you must agree with me, we must establish state police in Nigeria.
Governor Sani, there are those who fear that governors may now misuse that power, that the police or that apparatus is under them. And I mean, when we even have federal police, and we've seen in the past how some governors have taken advantage of that and used it against their political opponent or those who are of dissenting voice. What do you think could be the solution on how this can be managed? And there are also those who believe that even some states are not viable financially. They may not be able to pay. They are not able to pay their workers at the moment. How would they be able to pay for the logistics and the personnel overhead of these state police if it's structured and put under them?
Okay, let me answer you in a simple way so that even the layman will understand. Let me not be so technical in the way I answer you. Number one, when I was leading in the National Assembly to the creation of state police, I remember when I came to the National Assembly, there's a 9th Senate, I met similar bill that was promoted by distinguished Senator Ike Koromadu in the 8th Senate. He wasn't successful. And of course, I looked at the bill, I dusted the bill. I recall that I look at it critically, and at that time, a lot of people were worried that state governors could mismanage state police to their own advantage, use it politically. But you see, most of the people talking, if you ask them, most of them have not been opportune to be in the National Assembly to know the process of constitutional amendment or the establishment of any law or the creation or maybe the amendment of a law. If they had ever sponsored a bill or tried to amend a constitution, they will understand the powers of the state police can only be established by the National Assembly. So you can create a state police and give them limitation. Where there's a kind of dispute at the state level, the federal police force can override. It happens in other countries around the world. So in Nigeria, we must move forward. The fear will not solve the problem. For me, for those who don't know, you can only be powerful, or the state police can do whatever they like if the National Assembly decide to give them that opportunity in the creation of the law. But that is the issue. And you cannot create state police without going to various stakeholders, both at the zonal level, state level, and get security experts to make their input. That is what will be done. That will be collected together to create state police. So no governor can have powers over state police if you sit down critically and come up with the law that will now deny the governors opportunity to use it for their own advantage. They can make it clear that state police should not get involved in the issue of politics. They should only get involved in security issues. That will be there in the creation or the establishment of the law. So for those who do not know the process of creating a law, that's why they are confused. And I believe a lot of people who are making this kind of agitation are doing it maybe with the best of intention, but it's about knowledge. It's about the idea on how you create a law. For me, as in the 9th Senate, I can tell you I was involved in the establishment. I sponsored a lot of bills. One of the bills I created or I sponsored that was signed into law by the then president was the creation of or the amendment of Welfare Act. When I came to the Senate, someone told me it's difficult for you to amend the Banking and Other Financial Institution Act because it was obsolete for 25 years. There's a lot of dispute within the financial services sector. They said it would be killed, nobody will allow it because it will address a lot of problems. Some commercial banks will be at the disadvantage level, but I took it. I was able to now amend the Welfare Act. That was why we established a new one in 2022. Today, the central bank are making most of these reforms using the Welfare Act I sponsored in the Senate. When I was in the Senate again, people talk about how can we get the 4.7 trillion that the federal government used to save some banks from going down 2009. But I said, look, we can do it. Nobody gave us a chance. But I sponsored the bill with the support of my other members of the Senate, particularly the likes of Senator Upayemi, who is now the Senate leader. We came together, we looked at that law, we amended it. Today, because of what we did, I'm going to have recovered a lot of money because we inserted a clause that allow INEC to take over your own house, even if you do not use it as collateral. We created an avenue where we inserted a kind of a clause that allow AMCON to go to take someone's house through asset tracing. This is what we did. Today, we're seeing progress. So look, if you want the act of law creation is very tedious, but people have to be educated. So the issue of state police for me, Sean, is nothing but the only way to address the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. We have to stop politicizing every issue. When I was agitating for the state police, I was not a governor. I was not even contesting for governor. When people told me at the level of the Senate that governors will use it to their own advantage, I was able to explain to everyone that, look, it's not possible. We are in the National Assembly. We are the people that will now sit down and propose most of the things that will be included in the bill. And we now take it to stakeholders around the country for their input before we now talk about the constitutional amendment to create state police.
Yeah.
So that is a process.
I would say it's a rounded advantage in terms of knowledge that you have. Now you are in the executive and leading a state as an executive governor, and now you've been in the National Assembly. You've had that experience, so it gives you some holistic or a global view of things. That those who will say the state police is probably not the only issue. Another issue will be how the state will be able to take control of their own destiny. There are some resources under the ground in some states, but they cannot have control over them. Would you also advocate now, because I wonder what has made it so difficult in the last amendment alteration to the Constitution? The issue of state policing didn't make it through. It fell through. And so we wonder how the State Assembly or the National Assembly will see what you are seeing, for example, and make the state more viable in terms of allowing the federating unit to be able to control their own territories like we see in other states, like the United States.
Look, I think it's something that, like I said, if you look at our constitution, it's not a perfect constitution. Some of us that have been involved in the fight for the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria, I recall some of us were fighting for true federalism in Nigeria. I was an advocate when I was in the civil rights movement alongside the likes of Femi Falana, Commercial Sani, Mike Ozokome, Ayobe, Ebun Oluwadogoro, and many other comrades at that time. Gani Fahmi was leading, as well as Bekore Sankuti. So we were advocating for the true federalism. We believe more powers should be given to states, because that's the only way we can be able to develop our democracy and allow people to benefit from the dividend of democracy in Nigeria. But you see, for me, it's something that needs a lot of education. Whatever I say here today, a lot of people will not understand. If you recall, even as a civil rights activist, I was among the leading people that fought for the 13% derivation to some of the states within the Niger Delta, though I'm from the north. So for me, you see, this issue is something that needs a lot of education, need a lot of people to understand where we're coming from. But you see, when we're agitating for things like that, a lot of people in this country believe in misinforming, misguiding the gullible people for their own political gains. And that's the reason why, like I said, we need a lot of education. For me, if you allow me, when we fought for this democracy, we believe the whole essence is for people to benefit. And the only people can benefit is to ensure that more powers are given at the level of states with local governments. That is the way to go about democracy if we want to build our democracy. But I have no doubt in my mind, this thing have to start from the National Assembly. Because I remember you just mentioned the reason why the state police did not see the light of the day. Of course, when we sponsored the bill at the level of Senate, we had a conference committee between the House of Reps and the Senate. And I was among the members of the Senate that was in the conference committee to look at all the relevant amendments. We achieved some, we lost some. I recall the Senate unanimously agreed on the state police at that time. But we cannot do it alone. Before we send it to the state assemblies, we must have a conference committee and discuss it between the two, between the Senate and the House of Reps. And we lost it, I remember, by 19 to 21. 21 people voted against the state police. 19 of us voted for the state police, so we lost it. But today I can tell you, if we take the same argument to the National Assembly, it will pass. Because more people are educated, more people have now realized that's the way to go. And I recall when we are doing consultation at the level of zonal level, when we're doing the constitutional amendment, like I said, a lot of people in northern part of Nigeria were skeptical about the creation of state police. Recall that time even the southern governors came out openly under the leadership of the late governor of Ondo State to say that they want the state police. But a lot of people were skeptical at that time in other part of Nigeria. But today, No governor, maybe very few. In our last meeting, I can tell you over 30 governors submitted their own memorandum and they all agree on the creation of state police. That was not the case 4 years ago. Today, that is the case. So for me, we need more education, more enlightenment. We need to carry people along so that they can own it, they can understand. That is what I'm calling on. Some of us are for democracy, like I said. The whole essence is to ensure that we entrench democracy, not only fighting for them, but to entrench democracy where people can benefit. But today, we're having this problem because a lot of people do not understand the essence of our fight for the term of democracy in Nigeria. It is a process.
Yeah. Governor, let me jump in quickly before I move into other issues pertaining to what took you to China and what will be the benefit to the people of Kaduna State, because I'm very certain a lot of people will want to know why their governor went to China and some of the benefits there. But I'd like to know the killing of Alilu Sububu, the bandit leader. The military says they are on the trail of Bello Turji. Yesterday, I was speaking with Governor of Zamfara, who says it's a good deal for Nigerians and the fact that the military are making effort. But how much of a big deal is Alilu Sububu's death or the killing by the military? And what do you think, and how can Bello Turji be captured quickly in the fight against banditry? What does the killing or the capture or the arrest of these persons or this leader, what does it mean for banditry in the northwest region of the country?
First and foremost, like I said, I have to commend the military for that very heroic effort. Because you see, the people of that northwest, as it's not only Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina, even Kaduna, and Niger, we are all really happy with the effort made by the military, because killing of Abibu Sububu is very, very important, because you see, he's someone who command a lot of other bandits around the northwest axis. So eliminating him will go a long way in addressing most of this problem, because most of his followers will be in this area. Most of them certainly will know that it's a matter of time before they are also going to be eliminated. So that is, for me, is a very, very welcome development. For him, someone who have terrorized the people of this very zone, as the northwest zone, particularly the axis of Zamfara and Sokoto. Of course, Bello Turji, for me, just like the CDS have said, General Christopher Musa is another person that I have no doubt in my mind. It's a matter of time before they can also get to him. That will really go a long way in making our people to be more hopeful about fight against banditry, insurgency in the northwest. Because when they are seeing this result, they'll be more, at least they'll even support the military more, believing that they are now see result as against seeing these characters coming out on the social media, almost on a weekly basis, threatening people, harassing people, killing some people. So for me, it's a welcome development, and I have no doubt in my mind this is just the beginning of most of the successes we're expecting from the military as well as other relevant security agencies in Nigeria. And we at our level, we will continue to give them all the necessary support, because we know they're making all the sacrifice to protect the lives and properties of our own people, which is key aspect of governance, as you're aware.
Interesting. I'm hoping that the locals, those who are living in the communities, will not harbor these people and push them out as fast as possible. But let me ask you, Governor, what took you to China? What did you bring for China? What benefit does it have for the people of Kaduna State?
Thank you very much. Of course, number one, I would say that I was privileged to be part of the President Bola Tinubu's entourage to to Beijing. And of course, like I say, it's privileged because I was among the few governors that accompany Mr. President. But of course, as national leaders, we have to leverage on that opportunity and see what we can do to attract investment to our own states. And that was the reason why when I got in there, I made it clear to President Bola Tinubu, who he supported me 100%. And I told him that Kaduna State government and Huawei are doing certain things together previously. But now we want to solidify our partnership by now going to the next level. And I made it clear to Mr. President that I need his support. And not only his support, and I also told him that since I will be among the delegation to China, and of course I was aware fully that the Nigerian president and the entourage were also going to have discussion with Huawei toward the establishment of smart projects within the federal level. And I told Mr. President that in Kaduna we have been a bit ahead of the federal government in that aspect. So that was the reason why when we got in there, Mr. President supported me. And I told him we're signing an MOU with the Huawei. And I want him to witness the signing because it will help the state government. So we want to be the model around the country because signing with Kaduna will certainly also encourage Huawei to partner with other states in terms of the creation of the smart city. In Kaduna, we have done that. The federal government are also talking with Huawei to do what we've done as a subnational. And that MOU will go a long way in enhancing security in Kaduna, also enhancing transparency and accountability in the public service. Of course, there are many things we want to establish through the MOU. We are creating a state-level command center, which is also key, which will be the first by any subnational in Nigeria. We are also going to look at other important areas that we're going to focus on, like the creation of smart healthcare, smart education, intelligence traffic system, e-government and office automation, ICT talent development, which is also a key aspect we're looking at, as well as the renewable energy solutions. Not only that, we are also going to look at the integration of our public transportation. So these are things for me that are very important. Like I said, is apart from also addressing the problem of insecurity in Kaduna State, it will also support our educational development in Kaduna State because, like I said, when we came in as a government, human capital development is the key. And we are targeting improvement in the area of education, healthcare, and the only way to do that is to move to this level where we're going to have a smart healthcare. I recall about 3 months ago, the president of the African Development Bank, Professor Akin Adesina, called me on his own and told me, look, because of what we're doing, even before the signing of this agreement with Huawei, he called me and said, look, Kaduna State is advanced ahead of many states in Nigeria. Because of that, the African Development Bank will want to use Kaduna as a model toward computerizing our healthcare, primary healthcare centers free. Okay, so today, with this signing of with the Huawei, we have even gone to the next level in terms of creating smart education where our own children, those in schools, we have opportunities just compared to what we see internationally. That is what we are doing. And it's also, not apart from that, recall 3 months ago, I was also in China. That's why this conversation did not only start this month. So it's only the signing of the MOU that solidify our partnership. But 3 months ago when I was in China, I also signed an MOU with Hubei province. Hubei province is a province that have about 70 million people, one of the advanced provinces in China, where we signed an agreement with them, where an MOU between myself and the governor of Hubei province to establish Hubei Industrial Park in Kaduna. And that was what actually made it possible for a lot of Chinese investors to know about Kaduna. And we have already directed or are working closely with CCECC, one of the most leading Chinese infrastructure company, who are right now, as we're speaking, building the Hubei Industrial Park, where all the Chinese investors globally will be able to have it as their own destination. So for me, it's something we're doing. And not to forget, we have attracted investment worth over $350 million in the last 3 months, partnering with Chinese companies. That's what I'm trying to say. In terms of soil mineral resources, Minzin Minerals company have signed an MOU with Kaduna State government. As of today, they have invested $100 million in the area of lithium processing. About 3,000 jobs have been created right now in Kaduna, and about 3,000 tons per day is what they are producing at the moment in terms of lithium processing in Kaduna State. That is also a Chinese company.
Governor,
already working.
Yeah, if I may jump in quickly, these are MOUs, and a lot of people will wonder when exactly these will, when they hit the ground in actual construction, and when this work visibly will start. But don't forget again that I'm very sure that there will probably be a good lesson that have been taken away from these Chinese companies and what happened with Ogun State. I'm very certain, isn't it?
Oh, but let me also clarify that. And before we travel to China, I think the federal government made it clear that maybe because of the experience of Ogun State, they made it clear that no subnational will sign any MOU without the Federal Ministry of Justice, the Attorney General, as well as Minister of Foreign Affairs, bet the MOU. So, but because, like I said, we have an advanced conversation with Huawei, and we've been talking with them. We took our MOU with the Ministry of Justice through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And they look at our MOU and they all bet it. And that was the reason why we were able to sign our MOU, because they look at it critically. So I think it's a very good idea by the federal government to ensure that nobody will just go and sign, because MOU, many people are signing MOU that has no impact, no benefit, and there's no result. That's why I took you back to my trip 3 months ago, where I signed an MOU with the governor of Hubei province. If you Google Hubei province, is one of the most important provinces in China that are very advanced in the area of solid minerals, agriculture, as well as the area of information technology. So today, as we're speaking, CCECC have already started. We gave them the land, we signed an agreement. 3 months, we did that. Today, we're implementing the MOU in the state.
When are they likely, when is the timeline, what is the timeline of this project? And what will the Chinese get in return? Because when they get into some of these deals, how long is the term of these agreement? When are they supposed to conclude the estate or the city, the smart city, and the Hebei province? When are these projects? What is the timeline? Will it end before the first 4 years?
No. I think we don't have 4 years. Like I said, the one of the Hubei province, by the grace of God, so started at CCECC. I didn't want that because almost an agreement is a tripartite agreement between the governor of Hubei, myself, and the CCECC, who are going to construct the Hubei province. Today, as I'm telling you, the project have started. We are working closely with them, and in the next 40 months, everything will be concluded. That's the timeline, and you can put it down. The smart city project, as I'm speaking with you, we have constituted a committee between Kaduna government and Huawei, and they were talking, and the time frame for that to finish is about 18 months. So for me, it's something that when signing an MOU, you have to sit down and look at the benefits, look at how much it will benefit their people, the level of investment, the completion date, the timeline. This is what we're doing in Kaduna.
Yeah, so again, Governor Sani, one of the very important factors here is that There are those who have the fear that some of these projects are elitist. They are for the elite of the society in Kaduna State. How can the poor benefit from the smart education, the smart health program, the smart transportation? Again, are there infrastructure for it? The power is a major problem in this country. How do you want to construct a smart city without proper power supply? And of course, even internet penetration, you can't do anything digital or smart without all of this infrastructure. Do you have it? Can the poor benefit?
This one is about the poor people. If you look at our agenda in Kaduna, it's rural revitalization. When we came into Kaduna, we made it clear. If you look at my project in Kaduna, you will agree with me that despite the fact that we have embarked on the construction of 62 roads, totaling about 730 kilometers. If you look at it, 90% of those roads are in the rural areas. So the smart city is not about Kaduna town. It's about Kaduna state. Right now, as I'm talking to you, that is the reason why part of the agreement is to be able to advance the level of broadband penetration in the whole of Kaduna state. That's what we're doing. When we talk about one of the two we're looking is renewable energy solutions. So when you're talking about power, we also come with the solution, part of the agreement. I think it's important for me to be able to publish the entire content of those MOU. You will understand that the beneficiaries will be the people in the rural areas of Kaduna. That is the reason why when I came in, you could recall, when I had a town hall meeting, I met the people of Kaduna clear that look, in my own time, there's nothing like building a flyover in Kaduna where we spend 20 billion, 30 billion for the people of the city. We are going to focus on linking our farms with our markets, creating prosperity at the level of rural areas. That's economic prosperity, reducing the deficit in terms of infrastructure. So the Kaduna now of today, I can tell you, is a Kaduna where we're making all the investment mostly in the rural areas. And why am I achieving this? Recall, 8 months ago, when I signed an executive order to address the problem of financial exclusion, where a lot of people have come to realize that in Kaduna, so not only Kaduna, I can tell you, many people within the northwestern part of Nigeria are completely financially excluded. And I have the data because I was the chairman of the Committee on Banking. Go to Development Finance Department of Central Bank. Go to NDS, you will agree with me. The first step we took is to ensure that we open accounts to about 2.5 million people of Kaduna, particularly those that are vulnerable, underserved, and poor within our society. We have addressed that already. We have also made a lot of investment in SMEs, where we created over 7,000 SMEs, where small businesses are benefiting through our own support. So we have been tackling the economic activities of our people at the rural areas. Now the smart city is not about the urban area. Even within the urban area, we have been targeting the urban poor in Kaduna State by ensuring that affect.
Dr. Sani, we're out of time. We're out of time, but before we go, you didn't tell us the costs. What does it cost the Kaduna people? But because we're out of time, again, the question will be, how have you been coping? Because the government of Kaduna said the last government has not been able to make good account of how they spend the resources of the state. Are you still pursuing to probing the government of Nasir El-Rufai?
I think at the state level, I have not even done any probe. I can tell you that since I came as a governor, I made it clear to everyone that for me as a governor, when I was elected, I visited Governor Makarpi. I'm on the television. I visited Governor Makarpi, who was a governor between 1999 to 2007. I visited Namadi Sambo. I visited Ramalan Yaro. I also sat down with my friend and brother Malin Nasser Medal. So all the governors, I visited all of them. And I'm talking to all of them as I'm speaking. For me, each and every one of them have done his best. I can tell you, but government is about everyone coming with an idea, building from what they've done. Sitting here, I can tell you that Makarbi have not done well. Nobody some have done well. Ramalangiro have done his best. Nasir Arafat have done his best. But Ubasani is sitting here as the governor by the grace of God. We must not have the same ideas, but we will certainly, I will continue to consult everyone for the benefit of the people who cannot say, I'm not here for that. Look, I was in the National Assembly. Recall, I just told you about my bill on AMCON. The federal government didn't do that. But what did I do? I propped AMCON as the member of as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking. Recall, go and check my record. But that's the reason why when the State Assembly came up with this investigation, I did not interfere. The state government under my leadership have not. I'm just focusing on my job.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you. But are you seeing in good talks with Governor El-Rufai? Are you guys
with
good?
All the governors of Kaduna, all of them are close to me.
All right.
Only yesterday, I was with Ramalanyaro. He visited me. 3 weeks ago, the former vice president, Namadi Sambo, was in my office. Governor Nasir El-Rufai, many things I've done at the beginning of this government. I met him for advice, including our financial issues. So this is me.
Governor Sani, yeah. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it. The Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Sure.
That's our show for tonight, everyone. Man, thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. God bless you.